What's going on, guys? We are here taking a look at the new 2019 Silverado. So in this video, I'm not going to be giving you guys a bunch of specs on the truck. I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview of the inside and out. First, we're going to start with the outside. I'm going to tell you guys what I like and what I don't like, and the things that I've noticed after driving it. So first off, this is an RST edition. This has the paint matched front end, which I am a huge fan of. I don't really like the chrome front ends. Maybe it's because I'm the younger generation and I really like the paint match, but I think it makes the truck look a lot more sharp. So you've got your daytime running lights right here, which personally, I don't really like them being so tiny. I think it looks kind of like a foreign car, like a Honda or a Hyundai. I really like the daytime running lights they had before on the GMCs and Chevys, so I'm not a huge fan of those. I really like these headlights that they did with them here. I think those look really sharp. One thing that was a nice little touch with these is they have carbon fiber inlays here, which is really cool because it gives it a really good looking texture. And then you have another light here, there's your turn signals down here. I wish they kind of would put either the daytime running light here or do what Ford did and ran the daytime running light the whole way around. You've got air vents here on the side. That is mainly for aerodynamics and for gas mileage. As you can tell right here, they have these little holes in here that's supposed to cut up the wind and whatnot. I'm not an engineer, so I don't really know the whole process with those, but they're supposed to help with gas mileage. Now the front ends to me seem shorter, especially driving it. I didn't see nearly as much of the hood, which I'm a big fan of seeing a lot more of the hood because I feel more protected having that longer hood and front end, but these ones seem a little bit smaller. They probably shortened it a little bit to give more cab space, which isn't a bad thing, but it just seemed a little bit shorter. That was just something I noticed. So let's go ahead and take a look at the side here. First off, you'll notice that the Silverado emblem was moved. It used to be down there. They moved it up there. Not really a huge fan of that. It almost looks like somebody just slapped it on there. I think they either should have put it there or just removed it altogether. Next, you're going to look at the tires and wheels. Wheels look really sharp. They're 20-inch wheels. They're starting to get way better on the design of wheels, which I'm happy with because aftermarket wheels and tires are expensive. So it's nice that they're trying to put more effort into the wheel design, and I think they did a really good job with these. The tires I'm really happy with. The tread looks good. They look more aggressive. I actually took off the tires right away on my truck when I bought it just because they were very not aggressive and I don't like that, and the tread was terrible. So these tires actually look pretty decent. So if I would have bought this truck, I would probably keep those tires for a little while, or at least make these my winter wheels. Next, one of my biggest gripes about these is these mirrors. These things are hideous. Not a big fan of them. People have a lot of questions about tow mirrors, how they're going to put those on there. I have absolutely no clue. I don't know, maybe if they'll throw the tow mirrors here where they used to be. I wish they would have put the mirrors back there. From the inside, they don't look bad. You don't really notice them that much. They have good vision. There's not a lot of blind spots, but the look of it to me is not very good. I don't like the fact that they come off the side there and come up. Another thing they added was these keyless entry buttons. So if you have the remote in your pocket, you can go ahead and just press that button and it lets you into the vehicle. My wife's car has that and I really like that feature. Another thing they noticed is they don't put the paint matched B-pillars anymore. They go ahead and do the black ones. Ford did this for a long time and now they're finally starting to do it. I'm a little bit iffy on that. I do like my paint matched pillars, and if you really don't like them, you can just throw some vinyl on them. But it's really hard to actually make those paint matched if you wanted them paint matched. So I think they should have stuck with it, but it doesn't look bad. It kind of looks nice on the truck, especially if you had tinted windows. So let's go ahead and go to the back. I'm kind of surprised these aren't carpeted like some of them are. This one might just be a lesser edition, but usually those are carpeted for sound dampening. For the back of the truck, I'm a really big fan of this Chevrolet back end. I think that looks really nice. Taillights look good. Everything's LED. They made these steps longer and wider so it's easier to get your foot in there. They did some stuff with the bumper. It looks a little bit different. This one does not have the exhaust pipes out the end. It is the traditional. And now with this is just a push button. All you gotta do is press the button and it comes down. So that's really nice. You can also do it with the remote of your thing, or your remote. So it's kind of nice to have that feature. And then up here is something that some people didn't notice, but this little piece sticks out quite a bit. It actually protrudes out of the vehicle. I don't know if that's all aerodynamics or what the deal with that is. They've got a lot longer third brake light, but that's another new feature. The bed lights in the older trucks used to be up here. They went ahead and changed them to right here. I don't really know how much difference in brightness those are because I haven't had a chance to take it out at nighttime, but I personally like the ones I had because they were up hidden and there was 4 of them, 2 on each side, and it had a lot of brightness to it. I don't know how well these ones will do. I will have to take it out at nighttime sometime to test. Now this tailgate here, every one of these comes with this, either if it has a bed mat or bed liner or sprayed in, everyone comes with this on it, which is kind of nice because, you know, when you're hauling wood or whatnot, you always throw it here first, and this gets scratched up pretty quick. So they'll go ahead and added this to every single one. Now this bed itself, or this tailgate, is crazy light. You can lift it with one finger. I was very surprised to see how light it was. It's all aluminum, which, you know, some people are hating aluminum, which I'm not a big fan of aluminum trucks, but I like the fact that they incorporated it in different spots. But this bed tailgate is crazy light. Let's go ahead and move to the inside of the vehicle. Everything looks just a little bit different, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. So let's step in here. For your steering wheel, it has changed a little bit. You still have your leather stitched. I like how they did a blacked out emblem on the front. I think that's cool. I think that's probably only for this edition, just because it has the front end ones. You have these little dials now instead of buttons. These are not buttons. I actually thought they were buttons at first, and this dial did something else, but these dials go up and down on this side too. These are not buttons. So as you can tell, as you're dialing, those will go through. Then you have your buttons left to right, and then your cruise control, heated steering wheel, which we can turn off, and your talking and Bluetooth. So steering wheel does look nice. I liked it. It felt comfortable. They didn't change it too much. I didn't hate the old steering wheel, and I don't hate this one either. So they did a good job with that. Now what they did change that I don't like is this cluster. It looks insanely cheap to me. When you're spending this kind of money on a vehicle, it should look like you spent that kind of money. And this cluster does not look like that at all. It looks somewhat old styled. It doesn't look new at all. I hate how there's nothing in the background of these clusters, so it's kind of annoying, the gauges. So to me, I think that looks really old and somewhat hideous. I like that they kept the shifter here. Some of the other companies are changing the shifter locations. I'm not a big fan of the changing it. I like them right here. You've got, on this left side, you have trailer and brake, which is usually on this, but they changed it over here, which isn't a bad change. So you switch to the left here, and you can see it turn on, and then you switch to the left again to turn it off, and then they actually have a sport mode, which is pretty cool. So not really something you're ever really going to use for a truck because you don't use these to race, but it's cool that they added it. And then you have your auto, 4-wheel drive high, 2-wheel high, and then I believe this is some kind of off-road. It's your 4 high for terrain mode. So that is for different terrains, I'm guessing. Not really sure exactly what all that's about. Then you have your fog lights, your bed lights, then not really positive what those two are. I'm going to press them and see what they do. Maybe light output. And then you've got your headlights. Now, another thing that I really don't like is this auto stop feature. My wife's car has it and I hate it. It turns off the engine every time you're at a stop to help with gas mileage. And it's silly because half the time when you stop, it turns off, and then you have to wait for the car to turn back on before you can get going, so you cannot go quickly. So if you're at a red light and want to turn right, you have to stop, turn the engine off, press your foot off the brake, let the engine turn back on, and then go. So if you're trying to go in a hurry, it's not going to happen. Now, what's really nice about this is somewhere in the settings, you are able to shut that off. So it's kind of cool to have that feature, I guess, but I think it's a stupid feature to start with. Another thing that I noticed, which was pretty cool, is your brake pad life. That's something new. So you can kind of check out your brake pads. It's supposed to have some fancier brake pads, so they should last longer. Air filter life. So a couple new things there on this screen, which are kind of cool. Now, my truck, which is a 2018, was rated the most quiet in its class, and I gotta say, this thing definitely beats it. This thing is so quiet. I was driving down the main drag of the town, and I couldn't hear anything. All I could hear is what was inside here, which was really, really nice. So you have a really quiet cabin, which is pretty cool, and not a lot of engine noise, not a lot of outside noise. They've also changed this whole front end completely. You've got a push to start now, which I kind of like. My wife has that, and I've grown to like it. The screen, nothing really has changed there much. It's the same size. I was kind of hoping for an upgrade a little bit, especially when Dodge did that huge screen. I figured they would do something with that, but they didn't. Everything is wrapped in leather stitching around. Now, one thing I'm kind of not a fan of is my truck has the leather stitching as well, but it's the full thing. This just has it around certain locations. So that kind of is a little bit frustrating that they didn't do it all across the whole thing. Kind of has this cheapish style plastic, but what's nice that they added is here is something to place your cell phone, keys, different things you can place up here. So it's kind of a useless space before that they actually kind of made useful somewhat. So you've got the normal front screen, nothing too fancy about that. I'm not going to go into detail with that. You've got your power, your buttons for your screen to make that work, and then you got your climate control, and then you got heated seats in this one, and then you've got a couple buttons down here. This button's actually pretty cool. So you go ahead and press that, and all the windows go down at the same time. It's raining right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and put those back up. But it's kind of a cool little feature, just if you want every window down real quick. If it's hot, you can drop your tailgate like this, press that button, and your tailgate drops. Another kind of cool feature is if you're in the vehicle and it's raining and you're making somebody load stuff for you, you can just press that and get it down for them. And then you've got your trailering brake down here, and then you've got your little ports here for charging, and then you have another one for charging. But this one does not come with an outlet, which I'm kind of annoyed with. The older style ones, the 16, 17, 18s, always had this outlet. They went ahead and took it out. You have to have a higher model to get that, which is kind of annoying. Center console is kind of goofy looking. They took away the 3 cup holders and added a couple random drawers here for smaller stuff, which is okay because I never had 3 cups in here, so it wasn't a big loss. Then this is a decent sized center console, nothing fancy. And then they've got kind of this goofy thing where they added the seat belt up top, which to me is really nice safety feature because it's not just a belt anymore, it's an actual seat belt. So kind of cool that they added that. It just makes your center console look kind of goofy. And I'm a big fan of this. My truck has this. It's a lockable under-seat storage. You can put your ammo, guns, whatnot in there, and I use this a lot. You've got 2 glove boxes here. The older style had this as well. It's just nice to have some extra storage up here because it's kind of, again, space that's not being used, so might as well throw something in there. So let's go ahead and go to the back and take a look at that. All right, so I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 5'11", and I have a ton of room back here. This seat is where I normally sit, so it's pushed back quite a ways, and I still have a lot of room to stretch out, so I really like the space. I love that they put the vents back here again. You've got 2 charge-only ports here, and then another port here. So I'm a big fan that they put those there because you can actually get some air in the back. That's a lot of the issue when I drive people around in my truck is they complain because the air doesn't get back here. So all the sides here have this nice wood grain, which is just kind of sharp to see, something different to break things up. The back seats are fairly comfortable, and what I really like they added here is these. You can put some stuff in here. Again, just wasted space that can be used. Might as well throw something in there for storage. You can throw toe straps in there, anything that you really need, and it's not really known that it's back there. It doesn't affect the seat in any way. Again, it's pretty comfortable for the most part. You've got your grab handle here. There's actually one there on the front, which I forgot to mention. They usually didn't have those. They added it there, so everybody has a grab handle now. There's a ton of room up in the ceiling, and the seats do look pretty sharp. They have a nice headrest, which is nice because in a lot of seats in the back seat, you don't have a good headrest. Now, I don't have a crew cab truck, but in my opinion, I think they did extend these a little bit. It feels like there's a lot more room. Let's go ahead and look under the seat. You've got a little device here that kind of divides it so you can put your stuff in here without it all falling around. It's kind of like a underseat storage that you can buy, but these are already in the vehicle. So those are really nice because they are carpeted, so they look factory, which they are, and it's nice to have a location to put all your stuff without it flying everywhere. If I could recommend anything, I would put it out a little bit farther because there, again, is that much space that's not being used. So you might as well bring them up a little farther, but it's nice that they installed those in factory for the trucks. Here's under the hood, nothing fancy. They've got all these little raised parts here with holes to get the cold air in or out. I'm not really sure, but they've got a ton of little injection ports here to get the air in and out. Other than that, it's an engine.